It is finally that time for a sketchbook tour. I surprisingly finished this pretty quickly compared to my other bigger sketchbooks. Sometimes I finish the smaller sketchbooks pretty fast. This is the first time, and notably, that I finished a larger sketchbook so quickly in just a couple of months. So let's do a sketchbook tour. So if you're wondering where any of these stickers are from, I tagged some of the artists or mentioned them in the description so you can check them out. And before I forget, this is a Stillman and Byrne Beta Series sketchbook. This is one of their mixed media sketchbooks, so it's very, very thick paper, as you'll see in a second. It's really awesome. I've never tried this brand before, and I'm definitely going to continue getting them. I'm thinking of getting a smaller one next. So like I said, this is a mixed media sketchbook, so I painted with watercolor and acrylic paint in here. I also used all different kinds of markers in here, and it worked really well. There was only a little bit of bleeding with some of the markers, which we'll talk about on those pages. But the first page is a watercolor portrait of Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. But yeah, I used a lot of watercolors and markers in the sketchbook because it's just so fun and easy to grab and go and just play with. And so this is a full entire spread watercolor portraits that I did. This is an attempted drawing of Pedro Pascal, the actor, and this is just a beautiful person I saw on Pinterest. And then I did some lovely bows and stars in the background, and there's some colored pencil in here as well. And then this is just a simple portrait drawing. And then this was my first attempt at using Ohuhu alcohol markers in the sketchbook, which didn't bleed that much. I mean, it's covered by some of this watercolor, but there's a little bit of bleeding here and there, but that's okay. If you don't mind it that much, or if you're not doing an entire page, there's not going to be that much of a problem if you're looking and trying these sketchbooks. I only noticed bleeding with like the darker colors like black or brown, so yeah, there's only a bit to look out for using that in here. This is just a portrait of a cat, and I did like a checkered pastel sort of background and some colored pencil in here as well. And this is a watercolor page. I saw this like cool like check bill sort of thing, and I wanted to paint that. And then this is a picture that I took of my boyfriend and our cat Ming, that I painted them together because I thought it was a cute picture. And then I did some nice red stars all around. So this is a little post-it note that I like to use for testing out the markers, so that I make sure that I know what I'm using and I can refer back to, and if it like matches the reference that I'm looking at. Yeah, but yeah, these are dogs with sunglasses and a cat burger, because why not? And of course, a lot of these are videos on my channel, like this page, and I also did this spread for my patrons. So if you want to join my Patreon to see some like exclusive drawing videos and stuff, go ahead and check that out. I saw a carousel on Instagram of some distorted pictures that somebody took of their cat. I guess they used like a filter on their cat or something, and there was just like a dozen of pictures. I used a pink Tombow marker to do them all, and then a couple of stars, and then I came back and did a like blue gradient ombre watercolor background with the metallic blues. If I can grab the next page. And this was originally some like random things I drew, and I decided to come back and completely cover it in 4-leaf clovers because I have been becoming really obsessed with them. And I actually got a couple new Tombow markers, this dark blue and this dark purple, and I originally just did them on this page, and then this page was still strange. There's drawings underneath here if you can look really closely and see. When I was in like the final days of finishing the sketchbook, I was running out of like full pages to draw in, so I would look back to the beginning and find any empty space and just completely cover it in lots of random stuff. So I completely covered this entire spread and even like worked into it again with these Tombow markers and 4-leaf clovers. And this was another page that I came back and did with some watercolors, but this was a couple of cockatoos or cockatiels. It might be cockatoos. These are birds. And this was some like pink portraits that I did with Tombow markers, and there were just some really bad drawings. I didn't like them, so I put a bunch of my lino cut stamps in here. I call them stamps. My lino cut prints in here just to cover up those spaces, but it was still really blank. So like I said, I came back to these empty pages and I did some more 4-leaf clovers, and I also did add a lot of watercolor into it. Instead of just doing the background, I also incorporated it into the portraits too. There's some of these drawings are still not very good, but at least there's a lot of color that directs my eye to it, so it doesn't look so terrible. There's actually some color there. And there's another example of this. There were some random drawings here. Like I also added a bunch of my stamps in here, and a lot of watercolor and Tombow markers. And then this is just a full spread of a pink swirl and a black star in the middle, and you can see I nearly dried out the marker in doing this page. And this is definitely my favorite page of all time in here. I did a couple of blue portraits, and then I decided to use all my oranges on top. But I thought this was so cool. I drew these all freehand, and then I decided to do a completely black background with the watercolor too, because I never really do black backgrounds, so I thought it was really cool, and I think it contrasts really well. These are a couple of poses that I tried out using different colored pencils, and then I sort of blended some Tombow markers around it and did like a little black border. And these are some dog ideas for clay. I was in between either doing clay birds or clay dogs, and I put out a poll and you guys pretty much decided clay birds. Yeah, these are still here for me to look at, and I can also still edit my ideas. But yeah, these were some dog ideas that I had. Let me know if you still want to see a clay dogs video, or if I should do different dogs than the ones here. I definitely want to do a borzoi there. I don't know how to pronounce this dog. The ones with the really long noses. I definitely want to do one of these, and maybe a husky. I wanted to incorporate different ear shapes and like sort of fluffiness and different colors. So let me know which dogs I should do. And you can check out the tutorial on the clay birds video on my channel as well. And since I liked those dogs a lot, I drew them a couple of times, and this was the initial idea for a painting, and then I decided to draw it digitally in my iPad and went on Procreate instead, and it came out a lot better than this. And then I came back and filled it all with watercolor, and then there was a lot of like wet blue paint here, so I thought, why not just like splatter it and let it drip? And yeah, I just went a little crazy with that. And this was a couple of random colored pencil drawings, and then I came back and covered it with some yellow Ohuhu markers just to brighten it up. I really recommend using more than one material in your sketchbook pages, more than one medium, and just like filling any white space that you see with color or even black, just to like fill that space so it doesn't look like, so you don't come back and look at it and it's an empty blank page, because that's what I hate when looking back at my sketchbook, is how blank some of the pages end up being. But I think going back before like being completely done with it and just covering things, covering every page and everything is a lot more fun. And this is here just because I still have a fear that these pages are going to stick together, because it's acrylic on acrylic, and it's happened before. It's probably, I know it's definitely completely dry, but I still have this here out of fear. But this was the self-portrait I did with acrylic paint and a little bit of colored pencil for some texture. This is a sort of tutorial on my channel as well. You can check out the entire painting process. I had so much fun painting this. Even though it's me, it's like the best painting I've ever done. I mean, this is the closest I've gotten to like completely realism with acrylic paint. I mean, there's still some proportion issues down here, but I think it looks exactly like me though, so that was really fun to paint. And you might have noticed that this is also my profile picture on all my social medias, so that's sort of intended why I wanted to paint this, because I wanted this to be a cute background for my profile pictures. So yeah, that's what that is. And I'm going to put this back here just in case. And here's another acrylic painting thing I did in here. This is also a video on my channel. I did a Monstera plant, and it was a lot of fun. And this is another watercolor portrait. And then this is another example of random drawings with colored pencils in here that I came back and fixed with watercolor. And this is a page dedicated to Sandra Oh, the actress. Ended up getting a lot of her like model pictures on my feed, and she is so beautiful and talented, so I painted her. And this is another random person I saw, and I did a green background because like I never do dark green. And here's an example of alcohol marker bleeding. I did do a lot of pressure, so that's why it's bled so badly. But I don't mind. I think it kind of adds to this weird drawing. Because I was testing out some blending with these colors, so I even labeled some of them if you're interested, with the Ohuhu color marker set. And I initially just did this big rectangle, and then I was like, this is just an empty space, I gotta do something. So I just kind of kept going and started changing the shape, and it's fun to follow this. And this is another alcohol marker page with some colored pencils. This is sort of a nostalgic page of like older phones, and like there's a digital camera here too, and an iPod. And in this video I answered a bunch of your questions that you guys asked me, so check that out if you ask me a question and you want to hear my response. And then this was a tutorial that I did on my Patreon on how to like draw freehand. And this was all in pencil, and then I did colored pencil background. And I was teaching you how to do it in pencil, and that you could also do it in colored pencil. So this is Lady Gaga, and this is a new Tombow marker that I got that I came back and filled the background with. And then this was the idea page for my April Patreon wallpaper bundle. It was spring themed and like bunny themed, so I also did tulips. My first idea was to do bows for folder icons, but then I changed that to doing tulips because why not? And then when I got all those new markers, I got like 5 new markers, and I just put them, all my new ones, out in a row and put them in a rainbow color. Yeah, I got orange, a light green, a dark blue, a dark purple, and this like pale color here. And then I went back to get a new sketchbook, and I got a light blue, which I did not add here yet. But yeah, these are all the color ones I have, and I also have black and gray. And then this was a full spread of Tombow markers as well, and then I did a neon watercolor in the background. You can stare at this all day and find something new to look at, because I did so many layers of portraits on here and a lot of Trixie Mattel as well. You might see this box back here. It was because I was trying to do the Minecraft crafting page. When you're looking at your inventory, I tried to do that with my gray marker, but it was not turning out the way that I was staring at the photo. So I decided to draw some portraits on top, and then I just didn't like those, so I just kept drawing portraits on top of that. And really interesting to look at. And the last page, this is entirely watercolors. This is all greens and blues, and if you look closely you might notice that some of these are a little bit more 3D than others. That's because on a separate paper I painted the same clovers with the same colors, and then I cut them out and glued them here. So some of these I tried to do like a 3D effect. So yeah, this is such a beautiful page as well. I don't know where the obsession came from. I just cannot stop drawing and painting 4-leaf clovers. They're so fun and easy to do. And oh, this is actually the last page. This was the last spread, but I had some extra. I I also painted really big ones, and then I was gonna put them here as well, but I didn't want them to cover the other big ones that I already painted on here, so I just used the small ones that I cut out. And I didn't want to get rid of them, so I painted this to the back page. This is not actually a page. I painted this to the last page, and yeah. And this is actually some shadow work I did of my dried flowers. I air dried a bouquet of flowers. I have a couple of flowers that are still in really good shape that I kept in a vase, and I have seen before online people going outside into the grass and putting paper, and like with the sunlight hitting the shadows and all the flowers and grass, there was shadows on the paper. So I tried that, and it was kind of difficult because I didn't have a great setup for it, but I was sort of holding it, sort of had it in my lap, and then holding a flashlight over the flowers so that there was shadows here, and then with the other hand filling that in with gray. So this is the shadows of my flowers, and then the green kind of went on here because it wasn't completely dry. But yeah, that is the complete sketchbook tour that I finished in just a couple of months, and I am so excited to start a new one. And I also finished my mini sketchbook, so look out for that sketchbook tour coming soon as well. And I had a lot of fun finishing it and going back and completing other pages that needed more work. I just had a lot of fun using all different kinds of materials, and yeah, this is a really great sketchbook. I really recommend it if you like using a lot of different materials, especially wet media, which is like paint. It is really thick pages, so I really recommend it. But before we go, I'd like to take a moment to talk about my Patreon. This is the wallpaper bundle for the month of May, which is aquarium theme, and in every wallpaper bundle you get desktop wallpaper, 2 folder icons, and 2 phone wallpapers. If your birthday is in May like mine is, let's match with the birthday cake phone wallpaper that has little fishies on it. Also, as a Patreon, you get access to exclusive videos only available to you and a monthly podcast. If you'd like to join, the link is always going to be in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video and watching all the way to the end. See you next time.